5 a.m. local time, tropical cyclone Oma was located at 16.8 degrees south, 164 degrees east. This is about 350 kilometres southwest of Sydney, 375 kilometres west of Manakura. And welcome to another update on the tropical cyclone, which is Cat 2 and was moving in a southwesterly direction at 12 kilometres an hour. Central pressure of the system is estimated at 976 millibars. Expected sustained winds close to the centre estimated at 110 kilometres an hour or 60 knots. This is the latest from the Vanuatu Meteorological Service. Temperature gale force winds 75 km an hour with gusts to 100 km an hour will continue to affect the Sandmar province tonight, extending to Malampa province for the next 12 to 24 hours. Storm force winds also remain in place, 110 km an hour, gusting to 150 km an hour to affect the areas within 55 nautical miles from the centre of the system. Heavy rainfalls, flash flooding over low-lying areas close to the river banks, including coastal flooding expected to continue to affect Torba, Sama, Panama and Palampa provinces today. Seas will remain very rough to phenomenal, heavy to phenomenal swells throughout Vanuatu. People, including sea-going vessels, strongly advised not to go out to sea, and the National Disaster Management Office has the red alert in force. Now we have a look at the Fiji's service chart, and they have it a category 2. They did have on their earlier chart that it was heading for Cat 3, but the environment has contributed to it weakening, especially the quasi-stationary scene and the NOAA floaters. Joint Typhoon Warning Centre has it located to 67 nautical miles west-northwest of Port Vila, tracking eastward at 2 knots. Actually, they've just updated. It's 250 kilometres west-northwest of Port Vila, tracking southwest at 4 knots. Animated enhanced infrared satellite imagery depicts a ragged and somewhat disorganised system with an exposed low-level circulation, pockets of flaring, weak convection wrapping into the well-defined centre. The initial position is based with high confidence based on the exposed low-level circulation, supported by a 89 GHz microwave image, which also shows the generally weak nature of the low-level banding features. The tropical cyclone lies in an overall favourable environment with low to moderate 15 to 20 knots vertical wind shear, robust radial outflow provided by an upper level point source nearby. However, a day and a half of quasi-stationary movement has led to significant upwelling and the development a large cool pockets of sea surface temperature as low as 24 Celsius around the system, leading to the downtrend in intensity. Now we have a look at the satellite imagery of the system. Tropical Cyclone 15P or Oma is tracking slowly southwest along the eastern periphery of a deep layer steering ridge to the east, and is forecast to continue to accelerate on the southwestward track over the next 72 hours. under the steering influence of a previously mentioned steering wedge during this period as the system moves away from the cool pool into significantly warmer waters, begins to tap into the divergence upper level outflow ahead of an approaching trough, expecting to intensify steadily, reaching a peak of 80 knots. Around 48 hours then after the 72-hour mark, the system is expected to recurve around the steering wedge axis ahead of the approaching trough. The system will then begin a steadily weakening trend after 72 hours due to combined influence of increasing vertical wind shear, decreasing sea surface temperatures. However, by the 120-hour mark, the system begins extratropical transition as it interacts with the mid-latitude westerlies. Numerical model guidance is in strong agreement through this forecast period, with the exception of the ECMWF, which remains a single outliner, taking the track west towards the Australian coast. Now we have a look at the ongoing tracks, and a couple of the models have a track back onto the Queensland coast. The HWRF intensity, they have it category 1 on the Saffir-Simpson Hurricane scale, or Cat 2 on the AU scale. Here's the wind chart. The scale is on the right hand side of the screen, and the different colours represent the different models, and that's also on the right hand side of the page. Rainfall. The bulk of the activity is going to be out on the open sea. And another look at the intensity. It certainly didn't reach the 920 or even lower. Upper level divergence is only around the 30 knot mark. It was a few days ago up around 50 knots. And please remember that Oma is X96P. That's sat on the monsoon trough over north and central Queensland. A look at the 24-hour shear tendency. We know that wind shear has been an issue. 850 millibar vorticity. The vorticity remains very strong, and the scale is on the right hand side of the screen. Once again, we have a look at the GFS precipitation model, and the GFS is indicating a curve from the south to southeast, and look at that brown over the northern island of New Zealand. But once again, it's far too early to say what it's going to do, and we'll have more later on today.
You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com, our YouTube page youtube.com/Force13, on Facebook under the same name Force13, and our Twitter handle, it's @Force13 if you wish to get in touch. You can also add Force13 on Skype and my personal account on Discord, Fool13, at extension 9094.